Dear all, welcome to yet another session of HRTech.sg's Demo Hour, exclusive edition for August 2021, where we will be showcasing the best-in-class features of talent planning solutions. HRTech.sg embarked on the Demo Hour event series in 2019 to evangelize and promote the use of HR technologies. The event provides a platform for HR tech providers to showcase their high-tech solutions, thereby aiding the acceleration of adoption of HR tech. The event motto has always been to showcase demos and not presentations. The first event happened in September 2019 at WeWork facility in Suntec, Singapore. Now we have moved to an on-demand webinar format. In April, we had our Demo Hour session focused on organizational network analysis. In May, which is the Mental Wellness Awareness Month, we had 4 mental wellness technology providers showcase their demonstrations. And then May, we again had 4 providers walk us through non-PMET hiring and onboarding. Non-PMET is a Singaporean terminology for blue-collar workers. June being the Pride Month, we had providers demonstrating the platform to showcase their diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging solutions. At its core, talent planning involves assessing the organization's current level of talent and evaluating that against its current and future talent needs to best achieve its business objectives. So it is an essential component that is directly linked to effectively manage all talent functions such as talent acquisition, talent development, performance management, and talent management. In fact, we believe talent planning is often the starting point for the talent initiatives. That's why when folks talk about hire to retire, we tell them it should be plan to retire. Planning is a very essential component of the talent life cycle. As an example, the granular workforce plan helps in buy decision, which is talent acquisition, can help in build decision for talent development teams, maybe a borrow decision for leveraging contingent workforce, and maybe even build, operate, transfer strategies. So together, this results in a data-driven approach for designing people, practices, and programs across the entire talent life cycle. And today, we have best-in-class technology solutions that are available that can be leveraged for talent planning. For a holistic talent management, the talent workforce planning process begins with a critical step of aligning the broader organizational strategy. So this requires actually a deep understanding of both the external and internal environment, which can be achieved through assessing and forecasting current and future skill needs of the workforce, as well as benchmarking with competitors, all of which can be done by talent planning solutions that are available in the marketplace. So there are various use cases for talent planning solutions. You can perform strategic workforce planning, you can enable long and short-term workforce planning, you can forecast workforce demand, you can examine cost impact changes, you can do competitor benchmarking, identify talent hotspots, and so on and so forth. And cloud-based comprehensive solutions such as HRForecast and JobKred assist organizations with workforce planning, offer reporting and analytics that provide extensive insight into workforce performance and trends, offer predictive analytics, which helps enterprises take advanced action for succession and retention. So there are a number of benefits of talent planning. On the screen, you will see all of them listed, but it can definitely help enable faster revenue growth, greater company success, meeting the company business objectives faster. In fact, companies that do talent planning well are more likely to count themselves amongst the best performing than their peers. And that's why we are here to showcase JobKred and HRForecast in our August edition of Demo Hour. I'm happy to invite Torsten from HRForecast to start the conversation. He would provide an introduction of HRForecast and then hand it over to Christian, their CEO, for the demonstration. Over to you, Torsten. Thank you for joining us.
For the introduction. It's my pleasure as the regional head for Southeast Asia for HRForecast to introduce this unique company to you. 2021 marks the 7th anniversary of HRForecast, which was created by Christian Vetter and Florian Fleischmann, one of whom you will be hearing later on in the demo of two of our key tools here. The basic idea for HRForecast was actually born when the founders were working for a large-scale German company, and they saw very inefficient ways of managing staff, where they were making people redundant without actually knowing what skills were available within this cohort of people. Neither did they know what sort of skills they actually needed to become successful or to remain successful in future. So they then had to rehire people with skills they had made redundant earlier, which obviously is a very inefficient way of managing your talent. So this is where the co-founders started using big data to help companies make better decisions. And as you can see on this slide, using big data as well as efficient tools resonates very well with very large scale German and other European companies. This is just a small selection of main board listed companies in Europe who are making use of the services of HRForecast. The services of HRForecast are basically delivered through 3 different modules. These work independently, but these work especially well once using them conjoined together. The first is Know the Future, which is basically the market intelligence tool where you use big data, make it visible in a manageable format, and help companies understand what competitors are doing, what future operating models would be, what future job roles could be. It also helps companies looking at making decisions about locations, coming up with their decision how to actually set their company up globally. The next 2 are basically digital apps. The first is Plan the Future, which allows you to simulate your future demand based on various drivers which you can input here. The third is Smart People, where you can start assessing what sort of skills you have in the company. You can create an efficient internal labor market, and you can empower employees to really drive their future. Without further ado, I'd like to pass you over to Chris Vetter, who is, as I mentioned earlier, a co-founder of HRForecast and serves as the CEO. Chris will take you through Smart Plan and Smart People so that you can see what innovative tools this company has to offer. Chris, over to you.
Thank you, Torsten, and thank you, Sriram. Happy to take over here. Everybody can hear me well? So let me share my screen so I can jump directly into the tools. So what you will be seeing from me now is, as Torsten mentions, a tool demo of Smart Plan and Smart People. And shortly before that, I would like to show you how this first offering, the market intelligence solutions that we have, how that looks like to a user. So as Torsten said before, about that. So as we mentioned before, this market intelligence offering is a huge digital data insights platform that brings you all the information you need to know about your future jobs and skills. And just to demonstrate a little bit how it could look like, I loaded some of that data we have into a Power BI interface, and right here I want to show you that for the market of Singapore, we have just recently crawled over 500,000 jobs, and we can crunch then these jobs and analyze them. For example, a typical use case might be, what are the most demanded IT skills in Singapore? So let's scroll down here, click on IT, and it will basically show the user what these IT skills are. Now let's take it even a step further and say, what are the most relevant IT skills for the DevOps functions that are considered to be of increasing importance in the future? And what it outputs then to the user is basically a list of all the skills that we see to be of increasing importance in the market of Singapore that are currently requested on the market. And even better, it shows which organizations are looking for these skills. So what you basically get through this solution is stay ahead or go ahead on your market of what's in demand, understanding how skill profiles are evolving, and understanding how your competitors are behaving. So this is just a very quick insight to that. which is needed in order to understand the other solutions, smart plan and smart people. So once this topic of the external data is understood, we can look into the organization, jump inside there. So what we see here right now is Smart Plan, our strategic workforce planning solution. What Smart Plan does, and I'll keep that very short so we have enough time to discuss about the other element, is it allows you as an organization to model various future business scenarios. It's like a business planning tool that translates these business figures into workforce demands in FTEs or in headcounts. So just taking one example organization here with 67,000 employees, could be any organization. What you basically see is based on various models you've put into that that instance here, you see that your future workforce demand is evolving. So there are driver models behind it, like based on volume, sales increases, productivity changes. So all these inputs coming from the business, and they're put into mathematical models. They could look something like, let's show you, like here we have different models around, and then basically you would connect them, build your models, and they would then be translated into workforce demands. Whoops, let's refresh it. And then what it gives you is basically for each of these scenarios, an estimation of how many FTEs you would need based on these business developments. So the clear value add of this app, in my opinion, is that the future is always going to be uncertain, and this tool enables you to model different scenarios. Let's say like a L-shaped or V-shaped or whatever recovery out of a COVID situation, or whenever something in politics or economics happens, you can model all these different scenarios and translate them into your requirements. The same thing also takes place on the supply side. So you can see how attrition, how retirements, etc., affect your organization. And then it will all bring it down to a gap analysis where you basically see, in this case, for a 5-year period, how the overall undercapacities or shortages and surpluses in different functions would evolve. So what you clearly see here is for some functions, such as the account manager, you have a shortage of employees in the future, while for other functions, such as the client success manager, you have a surplus of people in the future. So what that clearly means is you need to start developing the people now, so that in 5 years from now, you don't have these gaps. This is a tool that brings transparency into workforce strategy, and it also gives clear indications of where the pain points are in organizations and where things must happen. You can also analyze different scenarios. You want to know, in a worst or in a best case of your business, how that would impact your workforce demands, and you can basically compare that all here and analyze it nice and neatly. So this is the strategic part of it. Then you would translate that into operations. And for operations, we have this app called Smart People, which is was created to build the workforce of the future. And what it basically does is, in the backbone, it would hold all the future jobs and the skills your organization will need based on that planning you have. I mean, you can, of course, also use that app independently, but ideally, it's fitted together. You would know how many of which kind of people do you need. And it would show you, for example, let's take this example of a data scientist in the marketing domain. It would show you what kind of skills are behind this profile, what kind of tasks are behind this profile. And you could either derive that from your own internal data, or you can acquire that data from HRForecast, because as I showed you in the very first example on market intelligence, we are crawling all insights about labor markets, about job profiles globally, so we can funnel that information to you and tell you what kind of skills are going to be relevant for what kind of profiles. So once you've set up this backbone, you can use that to develop your people. Now we're going into Smart People, which is the app to do just that. And what it basically does is, okay, I'm going to take you now into Smart People, which in the end is the app to provide all these insights to the workforce. So what you can see here right now is basically the dashboard of how that looks like from an end user perspective. So me as an employee, I'm going to be Jennifer Moreland right now. I can have a look at the specific profile we just looked at, the data scientist for marketing analytics, and I can see how well do I fit to that actual profile. So what this app does for me is I can match my own skill profile against various future career paths I can consider. It shows me what my personal skill gaps are, and it also shows me what kind of skills that are relevant for my organization in the future I already bring along. What it also does is I can actually have a look into my team or my team members, and I can see how well they would actually fit into a specific profile. So if Jennifer is the manager of Ahmed, she could jump into his profile as well and see how well Ahmed fits this future job of the marketing analytics data scientist. And that can be used then to derive development targets for him and to clarify how that future of this employee can look like in the organization. Now, going back to Jennifer, let's assume Jennifer also wants to develop into this profile. She can basically look up all the requirements that this profile has. She can see what skills she's missing. She can add them to her learning path. Then she can basically have a look into the learning environment that her organization is offering. And as you can imagine, there are hundreds or even thousands of trainings that you can do. This app helps the individual to pick the proper training that's relevant to close the individual skill gap that she might have in the to become that employee that fits to this future profile. What the app also does, besides only people development, it also acts as an internal labor market. So it connects to the job boards that the organization has, and based on this skill-based matching, it's all about the skills in here, based on the skill-based matching, it actually detects various job profiles that are relevant for you and how well she matches to that. So Jennifer might not even know that she is a very good match to become a big data engineer or solutions engineer. And she also gets some recommendation how she can develop in the future. So that platform really is there for the employees, employee-centric, to see and feel what the organization requires in the future, how that translates to me, what needs to be done also on my end to develop into that role. And then on the HR and business perspective, of course, it also offers a range of analytics to see how big the skill gaps are in the organizations and to monitor hand in hand with the smart plan, the strategic workforce planning app, how well these skill gaps are going to be closed. So the suite altogether fits nicely, but the modules obviously are also available individually, because sometimes that's just what the organizations would need. And with that, I would hand it back and say thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks a lot for that insightful demo. And some questions to you and Torsten. What are some of the interesting trends that you're witnessing in the marketplace right now? And how is HRForecast differentiated to meet these emerging requirements of enterprises?
Well, regarding the first one, I mean, we're continuously monitoring the global workforce trends. I'm not sure whether you emphasize now on a specific region, but I mean, these trends typically would take place globally anyway. So the biggest trend that we see is that the digital workforce of the future requires skills in two main domains. So first of all, the deep tech skills, such as, I mean, always depending on the industry or the company, but typically in terms of cloud technologies, but also 3D printing, Internet of Things, all these kind of tech topics are of course increasingly changing the business models, but organizations should also never forget about the social aspect of the job, so that these soft skills also remain of really huge importance. So the symbiosis of both of these extremes basically is what the employee of the future would a little bit look like. Okay. And the second question, how the product we offer is differentiated to meet those emerging requirements, is, well, basically our company is all about skills, and it's all about translating trends into skills. To maybe give an example, it's like a little bit like Google Translate for skills. So the organization basically puts in the future business model, or it actually derives the future business model with our insights. Then we translate that into skill requirements, into profile requirements, job requirements, and then we break it down all the way to the individual, to the teams, so that everybody has the chance to see how that's going to look like, so that they can develop on time before it's too late.
That's really great. Thanks a lot for your time today, Christian and Torsten. I'll now hand it over to June and Wei Qi from JobKred. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Hrtech. So hello, everyone. So thanks for joining us in this episode of Demo Hour, organized by Hrtech. My name is June, and with me is my colleague, Wei Qi. So we are from JobKred, and we will be sharing our story with you, and we hope you will enjoy the session today. So JobKred is a Singapore-based homegrown company founded by Gary and Stephen in 2014. So our mission has always been to empower the workforce, right? Identify the skills that is required to do their role, and also at the same time help them to continuously improve on it. So our solution derives insights using data that is gathered around the world to provide you with a data-driven fact-based approach to tackle the most challenging issues around skills of your current workforce. So skill is a hot topic at the moment, but why are we spending so much time talking about skills? If you think about it, the largest cost in most organizations today is people-related. So we spend a tremendous amount of resources getting these most important assets right, but the volatility in the market often makes it quite difficult, right, to find the right balance between getting the right talent with the right skill set. And in the recent Future of Job report, the shift towards a digital economy actually is going to displace a large number of traditional roles. But interestingly, at the same time, right, it will also create almost 100 million new roles that will require digital literacy. So all these things being done in the next 3 to 5 years. So, but do you think that our workforce today actually is equipped with the skills going into the future? The recent survey done by SSG tell us that 70% of the 2,800 employees that they interview are very, very confident that their current skills are relevant to the role in the next 3 to 5 years. But in the same survey, the employers actually interview are not very, very positive. They believe that only half of the employees will probably have the right skill set going into the next 3 to 5 years. So why is there such a huge discrepancy, right, between the employees and the employers? We attribute all these facts to the fact that most of the employees and their employer do not have sufficient or consistent information to determine what skills is required to perform a role. So on average, we think that we need about 15 to about 50 skills to perform a single role effectively, obviously depending on the type of role. But these skills will range from the technical skills, that is the knowledge to do your job, to soft skills, isn't it? So skills where you are required to interact with other individuals effectively. So it's not an easy task to really break down the skills that is required to optimally perform your role, and let alone understand the organization expectation of this. So we, JobKred, provides a very unique way to bridge this gap. We crawl through millions and millions of job postings to identify the demand in the market. Using our proprietary machine learning algorithm, we help to interpret the skills that is required to perform a certain role and match that with some globally recognized competency framework so that you can identify the right level of skills to perform a very specific role. Yep, so employees and their supervisor now, with all this, you can easily validate their skills to identify the gap and subsequently provide a targeted learning intervention to close this gap. So this is a very data-driven approach where both the employees and the supervisor are working on the same set of data and align with the same common objective. So organizations using our solution commonly see quite a big improvement in things like cost take-up rate, lower attrition, quick time to market, or a much more ready workforce. Next slide. So to summarize JobKred solution, how we benefit all levels in the organization. So from the staff level, we help to identify the gap in the skills that is required to do your role effectively, and recommend a targeted learning intervention to bridge this gap. You can also use the platform to identify the career pathway, and then we empower them to develop a plan, right, to work towards that. At the line manager level, the platform helps this manager to better review, plan, deploy all your resources effectively. So now they're equipped with the information about the employees, and they can steer the conversation in a more open and transparent manner. So what about the HR team then? The HR people will now have the access to accurate staff level information, right? And you can use this information to better plan for recruitment, succession planning, learning development, or even your employee engagement needs. So lastly, for the management team, the overview of a company-wide skills information can be made easily and readily available to them. They can now make use of this information to make strategic decision, whether it is to identify most relevant resources, let's say to tackle an urgent problem, or create a special task force, find the most suitable candidate for a new business unit, or even to groom and train your next generation of leadership in a business. So the use case for all these skills are really limitless, right? So do reach out if you want to find out more. In the meantime, I'll hand over to Wei Qi to walk through the product with you. Thank you. Over to you, Wei Qi.
All right, thank you, June, and hello everyone. I'm Wei Qi from JobKred. All right, so in today's demo, I'll show you the two levels of experience, the HR experience followed by the employee experience. All right, I'll start off with a top-down approach, showing you how HR can draw insights from the system, how you can make use of the skills data for your various talent resource strategies, followed by how we can assign the skills to employees or their job profiles. And then lastly, how employees can rate and validate their skills proficiency. All right, so now what you see here on the screen is our out-of-the-box analytics, right? Which at one glance, you can get a quick indicators on how well your company is doing in terms of skill proficiency and skills gap, right? So I always like to start off with the skill readiness index, because that straight away tells you if your entire company is meeting the minimum requirements set up by the company in terms of skills. There are also indicators like skills gap and skill access that is comparing against the company benchmark. And how these are being derived, right, is based on the manager assessment, right? And then further down here, you can see the dashboard breakdown by different job profiles. So some people call it job profile, some people may call it roles. For example, like your software engineer could be a job profile, your HR executive could be another job profile. So in this case, right, like skill gaps and skill accesses, this is where you can see the breakdown of job profiles, which one are doing well, which one are not doing so well in terms of the skills. So like my head of product here, which is doing very well in terms of the skills, right? There is no skills gap comparing to the company benchmark here in the gray bar, and there are some skill access here as well. Whereas for my director of sales and marketing, right, you see that there is a huge skills gap here. Right, so as a HR, I know that, okay, this is something that I might need to deep dive further to see how I can help them close the gap. All right, and that is where you can come to the skills inventory list, which will give you a holistic overview of the entire skills that the company is required or expected to have. So like this instance, we have 182 skills set up by the company. This is where you can use it for your various source of information for your talent planning, right? So earlier on, we see that the director of sales and marketing is having a huge skills gap. So that is where I can simply narrow down based on the job profile and see what are the skills, right? So total 25 skills are required for my director of sales and marketing. Right, probably I just want to focus on those that have missed the targets. So straight away, we can see that out of the 25 skills, 13 skills have missed the targets, like business negotiation, right? The company expected level is at level 6, but the average scoring is at level 5, right? And I can see that, okay, there are 2 persons holding on to this director of sales and marketing profile. I can also narrow in to see who are they and who are the specific one that has missed the mark. so that I can plan out, craft out my training plans, or see what other training intervention I can put in for them. All right, so this is just one example of how we can use the skills data, right? Other ways is just like a few clicks away, you can do like talent mobility, identify what employees is good at doing what, so that you can deploy them more effectively to the right role. Or you can even find out who in your company is holding on to critical skills, right, for the purpose of talent retentions, right? So these are just some very common types of use case in the system. And then now I'm going to show you how these skills are being assigned to the job profiles or the employees. So during our customer onboarding, usually we will set up the profiles for them. But of course, along the way, customers always have the flexibility to customize the job profiles, customize the competencies or the skills that is unique to their business, right? So here, we can create the job profiles in just a few simple steps, and we can pull the skills data from various sources of information. Right, and one of our AI here is to crawl the big data from the global labor market information. And then once we have crawled in all the skills relevant to that particular job title or job profiles, companies will have the flexibility to customize it and also set the level of importance, right? So that this can be aligned together with the employee's vision. So for instance, like my HR manager role, right? Currently, if the company is heading towards HR transformation project, I may increase my level of importance for all the digital related skills here, right? So as employees, I will also have a clear visibility of what is my business priority now. All right, so that's it. The job profile is easily set up, and that is one of the immediate benefits that customers sees or companies sees, right? If you have ever tried to establish your own competencies framework before, you'll know that it's very tedious. So that is pretty much the HR experience. So now let us put on our employee's hat and imagine we are Ellie, the employee now. So for employees, right, especially millennials nowadays, right? We like to have visibility of my career path. What are the steps I need to take for my career growth, right? So for all the employees here, I can always see what is my job profile I'm holding, the total skills that is needed for my current role, right? So I have a clear picture of that, of all my skills, as well as the expected proficiency level that is set up by the company requirements, right? So what does level 2 or level 3 means, right? I can always refer to the description that we can pull in some of the description that is already available in our data sources, right? And then I can also do a self-assessment whether I'm still need to do some work or I am already ahead of the company benchmark. And likewise, if the employee is also a manager, I can also view my team members. I can easily track my team skills, easily rate or validate my team skills proficiency level as well. And then as an employee, for example, Ellie has been in the organization, right, for a few years. And I feel that, okay, I'm actually quite competent in my current skill sets now. And what are my career growth next, right? I can also explore the various career opportunity that is available within my company. All right. Of course, I can easily search based on my area of interest. And for example, as a HR executive, my next natural move will be HR manager. So this is where I can do a quick search and see what are all the skills that is required by the HR manager. I can see what are my transferable skills, what are the new skills that I need to acquire. Right, for instance, like digital literacy is something that I think I need to work on. And by clicking I want to learn on this, it will bring me straight directly into the company course repository, which we always work alongside with our clients to curate the courses here. So the course will be auto-filtered based on like digital literacy from where I come from earlier. Right, and we have also hooked up with other public online courses as well, right? So basically this platform enables employees to take ownership in their own learning and career development. So Yep, that pretty much gives you a quick overview of the system, right? As HR, you can easily draw insights from the system and use it for your various strategies, just like going for a doctor. You need to get a diagnosis before having the prescription. For employees, you have the capability to give you a clear picture of the skills you require for your current role as well as future role. For manager, right, we didn't see it today, but it's rather an easy and straightforward way to help you drive adoption throughout your entire company to validate the skills. And lastly, admin, it is something that is even simpler because we will set up the profiles for you. What you just need to do is just to come in and validate, and probably get the managers come in and validate the proficiency as well. So that's all. Thank you. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Wei Qi and June. So some questions for you. What are some of the interesting trends that you are seeing in the market, specifically Singapore right now in terms of skills? And how is JobKred differentiated to meet these emerging requirements of enterprises?
All right, so interesting trend. There's a lot of talk, right, about upskilling, retraining of the workforce to be future ready at the moment. You read about them almost every day at the moment. So a number of large organizations like Microsoft, Amazon, and all that all have plans to upskill a large segment of their workforce globally. In Singapore, the trend is exactly the same. Right? Based on the recent survey by Mercer, about 60%, I think, of the companies in Singapore are finding ways to upskill their most critical resources, but only less than a quarter of them actually know how to do it. So upskilling is not just about learning new skills. It involves a huge culture shift, change management, and all that. So it's not really an easy project, but definitely an important one. So to be competitive in this digital age at the moment, we see skills are evolving very quickly, and it's not easy also to keep abreast of what skills is required to do any job, right, effectively. So it changes almost every 12, 18 months. Not only the technical skills evolve, the soft skills also evolve, right? At the moment, because of the current pandemic, increasingly, we have to learn, right, skills to collaborate with human or even machines, right? So we find that the only people that can win the race at the moment are the people that can actually crack the code. So for your, yeah, thanks, Chair. So the second one about what's our product differentiation, isn't it? That's something that I'm very passionate about. We are constantly sourcing new data every day, right? To provide, so that can help us provide insights about the labor market around the world back to the customer. So our system at the moment is very easy to use. You can get up to speed in 15 minutes, and compared to the traditional method that may take sometimes months or years, right, in order to complete. And you can look forward to our future releases where we will have an interactive analytic module that allowed customers to answer some of the most critical or close to their heart questions about what are the future skills that is required for them? What are the benchmark? Do you understand the value of the skills? What is the cost of the skills? And so on and so forth. And obviously with the hope to help them narrow the gap and acquire such skills.
That's absolutely great. Thanks a lot, June and Wei Qi and Christian and Torsten as well for sharing your demos. Truly, for a holistic talent management, the talent workforce planning process that begins with the critical step of aligning to the broader organization strategy. By helping to align the business strategy to organization standard needs, this ensures that the right people at the right time and with the right skills are employed and working towards this organization strategy. Cloud-based comprehensive solutions like HRForecast and JobKred help enable HR teams to assist in their build, buy, borrow, and bought decisions by forecasting demands, benchmarking with the competitors, examining cost impacts, assess and forecast skills that are required for business growth, and identify talent hotspots for succession and retention of talent in organizations. This helps them to be truly a business partner and deliver business outcomes. On behalf of Hrtech.sg, I would like to thank all our partners for sharing the demos of their innovative solutions today. If you would like to see more of such demo or sessions, do drop us a line at info@hrtech.sg. Thanks and have a good day.